20 years.
Mixing it up today, Michael, with some Miller Lite.
A little different. Leftover from big Roosters softball victory last night.
Oh, yeah?
We drew the late game, the 9:30 start time, which by the time it gets to the late game, we didn't start till close to 10 o'clock, which means that the pregame in the parking lot lasted that much longer. But it was a victorious effort for the Roosters. We have a winning record now.
I thought you were 3-3.
We're 3-3.
You
500.
don't have a losing record.
We don't have a losing record.
Same thing.
No.
Somebody that I know and you know had a really bad stutter growing up and had a particularly hard time with the letter M, getting that out. And it always makes me laugh that he said, Ed, my favorite beer is Miller Lite. I absolutely love it. It's the best. Because, but whenever I was in the bar at college, busy bar, you know, everyone's 3 deep. And he said, whenever the bartender would be like, "What do you want?" He'd be like, "Bud Light."
Miller's good. It's no natty. It's all right though.
Yeah. How's our sponsorship deal going with Natty Light?
It's going so well that we are drinking Miller Lite right now. And where you at,
It's
Daddy?
an opportunity.
Where you at? They're getting in the vodka game now. Natural Light. You know how much vodka we could shill out of here?
A lot.
A ton. Yeah. Anyhow,
Anyway.
Edward, I couldn't help but notice beautiful bubble letters over your head today. Is that today's topic of conversation?
It is.
It is. Put my glasses on. Obstacles. What brought that up? We've talked about mindset. We've talked about goal setting, and now we've got obstacles. Where did that come from?
Well, as you know, we just kind of came up with that about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that before anything happens, everything happens twice. Right?
That's right.
Once up here, and then it happens in the real world.
That's right. Mm-hmm. No, so I think to continue our conversation, the real opportunity in life is how you handle those things.
Yeah.
Because my opinion is, for the most part, everyone pretty much gets dealt the same cards. It's how you play them. And I think if you have the mentality of, oh, there's an obstacle, it's a sign from God that I shouldn't do this, you don't get much accomplished, versus, ooh, there's an obstacle. If I can figure out how to get up, around it, over the top, underneath it, and somebody else can't, you've now separated yourself from the pack.
It reminds me, the sign from God, it reminds me, so great story. Guy got dragged to the mall with his wife, holiday shopping, right? He drops her off at the door. He's like, all right, I'm going to go park the car. I'll meet you at Macy's or whatever. He's driving around this damn parking lot. It's packed. No spots anywhere, right? 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And he's just like on edge. He's like, God, just get me a fucking parking spot. I'll stop drinking. I'll stop gambling. I'll stop looking at the nudie magazines. I'll give it all up if you just give me a parking spot right now. As he says that, right, clouds part, sun shines down, car backs out right in front of him, gives him a spot. And he goes, never mind, God, found one. Sign from God. All right. So obstacles. Inevitable.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
This game of life.
So I think that we talked about goal setting. You begin with the destination, the result that you want to achieve, right? And I think a big part of dealing with obstacles is essentially making a deal with yourself that you are going to be stronger than any obstacle that ever gets in your way, right? Regardless of what it is. There's no obstacle, there's no negative that is going to be stronger than what I have here in my heart, right? You make that deal with yourself.
You have a heart?
Well, yep. I watch, a sports team win a championship, I get teary-eyed. This Is Us, won't watch it. Told man, I ain't watching it. Why would I choose to watch something that I know for a fact is going to make me cry?
In the words of Aldous Snow, from Get Him to the Greek, it's good to feel something.
Yeah, I don't like to cry though. Anyway, so you make that deal with yourself, right? Cool. I will be stronger than any obstacle that gets in my way, right?
Yep.
And once you make that deal, it'll help you build confidence, right? Because simple supply and demand. If I can do things that other people can, I'm more valuable, right? So I made the deal with myself. I'm going through my journey, and obstacle comes, right? Well, I already know that obstacle is going to break somebody else, right? We talk to the guys you're out in the field doing sales, right? I know for a fact that when I'm out in the field, going business to business or going residentially, and it rains, I know somebody else is going to quit.
Yep.
But I made a deal with myself that I'm going to be tougher than that. So now that obstacle, rather than being a negative, oh, it's raining, I'm more valuable now because I already made the deal. The outcome is predetermined. I already know that I'm going to finish the job and I'm going to hit my goal. So the negative is just removing the riffraff from my path because I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obstacles are all a perception. For example, there's people in India this morning, for example, I've been to India, that probably had to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning just to go walk a couple of hours to get some clean drinking water to walk it back, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else, their definition of an obstacle...
Forgot to fill up the Brita last night.
Exactly, in the free world. So it's all how you look at things. So I'll give you an example. When I was in the field, I built my team for the most part on a residential campaign, saving people money on their gas bill.
Yep.
It didn't matter what territory you put me in, I was going to go kick some ass, right? Because I wasn't out in the field just to get some exercise and walk around in circles. Didn't matter what territory you put me. You put me in, East Point, College Park, maybe some of the lower income areas here in Atlanta. I would tell myself, I'm going to kick some ass today. A couple of reasons why. The houses are really close together, which means I'm going to see a lot of people.
Yep.
Plus, these folks would probably appreciate saving some money, which we could always save the money, right? Put somebody else in that territory, they're like, oh, I don't like this part of town, it's dangerous or whatever, and they would do horribly. But what's interesting is, you stick me in, Marietta or Alpharetta or some of the...
Yetas, very nice.
The Yetas.
Very nice.
I like the Yetas. Mm-hmm. Middle to upper income, maybe Buckhead. And I would say, oh my goodness, I am going to crush it today because these houses are so big, they use a lot of gas, and these people obviously didn't get to where they are by making bad financial decisions. I'm going to crush it, right? Somebody else who's in the territory just over from me, same part of town, would come back with zero sales saying, the reason I didn't do well today was because the houses were so far apart, I had to walk so far in between the houses. That was the reason. So
I think it's understanding obstacles. If you can differentiate between what is controllable and what is uncontrollable, it helps you navigate obstacles a whole lot better. I do this exercise with the guys. Like, cool, on a daily basis, what can we control? Well, really is what my work ethic, my attitude, my decision making, my preparation, right? That's all within my control. What can I not control? And it doesn't matter what you do for a living. There's certain things that are out of your control, right? I can't control the mood that the customer is in when I meet them. I can't control whether or not the customer has good credit. I can't control a bad experience someone may have had years ago that they're going to take out on me. I can't control any of that.
I used to love that, actually,
Yeah.
back in the day when I was representing Bell South.
Mm-hmm.
And people would say, you know what, 10 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And I would look at them and I go, I'm sorry that happened to you. 10 years ago, I was running around in a toga, but I can help you now.
You're at a toga party. Some of our viewers, all three of them, they may think that's just how people dress in England. So you make that.
People don't do toga parties anymore?
I don't think anymore. They wear basketball jerseys now.
To a toga party?
They don't call them toga parties.
Oh.
Baker, what is Darty? Daytime party. And they wear jerseys.
Huh.
I learned that on Instagram.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, so you got your list of controllables. You got your list of uncontrollables. 2 columns. The side that says uncontrollables, you take your pen, you cross the word uncontrollables off, and you write excuses. Because that's exactly what they are. It's the same thing you were just talking about, right? So the same stuff happens to everybody in every business, anywhere, right? People experience the same things. Top performers get shit done regardless.
Yeah.
Other people deal in those uncontrollables and use them as excuses for their failure. Whether you're talking about a professional athlete, whether you're talking about someone in sales, someone who's, running the friggin' fry line at McDonald's, the same shit happens to everybody. Some people get it done, some people don't.
Sure. Reminds me of an old meeting we used to run back
Is
in
that
the day.
right?
Yeah, you can Google this. Based on a true story, maybe 100% true, maybe embellished a little bit, but I like it. The story goes, Hush Puppy Shoe Company
Yes.
was doing very well, I think in the 70s, maybe 80s. And a couple of guys in Australia, I think.
Baker perked up. She heard hush puppies. Thought we were talking furry again. Just gave me the finger.
Anyway, 2 of the top sales guys in Australia were given the opportunity to go to Africa because Hush Puppy Shoes was going to launch there. And they basically said, look, we don't have any stores there, we don't have anything going on, but there's a lot of people, it's a big opportunity. And they sent the first guy there, and he came back and said, no, man, it's shit. He goes, there's no opportunity there. Nobody wears bloody shoes, right? The second guy goes, checks it out, comes back, he goes, all right, I'm in. Massive opportunity over there because nobody wears bloody shoes. And that guy evidently went to Africa, I don't know exactly where he went, probably one of the biggest cities, and absolutely crushed it and ended up running the country. There you go.
So a couple of things come to mind there. Neither of them are of any value, but it's kind of entertaining. So remember old Bell South, we could sign people up for international long distance.
We did.
And they had a plan called Country Select. So if a business made calls to a certain country, they
So like
could
if I was
select.
calling England on the reg.
Yeah. So you'd be able to select England, you'd get the best rate to England.
Yeah.
Well, great friend, great mother now, Beth. She came back to the office one night with her order forms, big order. She brought someone back from another company. She make $400, which is a lot of money in 2006 or whatever it was. And Country Select, she sold them Country Select, it was like $75 payout. And the country that she selected was Africa, which is not a fucking country. It's an entire continent with numerous countries.
So I'm assuming that wasn't like a checkbox situation.
No, she wrote it out. Yeah, she wrote out her big bubbly letters and the I, probably a little heart over the top of, and so she had to go back and redo that because that's how Bell South was.
It's a continent.
It's an entire continent with several countries.
Huh.
She should just put an S in front.
You said you had a
South.
couple of useless stories. That was the first one. You
That was the first. I forgot the other one.
Yeah, that's probably better that way.
Yeah. Well, maybe I was going to tie it into the fact you just did the same exact thing.
All right, so here's how I look at obstacles in a way. Going back to once you decide what you want to do.
Yep.
Okay, I think this is a helpful exercise. Google in your state what are the top 10 income producers make, right? Last time
what do you do? Like, is this a job? Like what jobs produce the top? What do you do?
Well, no, more so. All right, to be in the top 10%.
How much money do I have to make?
Yep.
Okay.
So when I did this in 2001, the stats told me that 7% of people in Georgia made over 6 figures a year. Okay. And I had decided I want to make at least 6 figures a year. Okay. So 7% of people do, which means that 93% of people don't. Right. And so whenever I was out in the field doing sales, getting my teeth kicked in, the weather was terrible, the weather was hot, the weather, whatever it was, people were mean, and that little voice in my head said, God, this is tough. You could be doing something easier. Why don't you go bartend? That's easy. You can go get your job back tomorrow if you want to. They still love you. I would say to myself, all right, what would 93% of people do right now?
Yeah. And
then I would say, what would 7% of people do right now? There you go.
So
that's how my little brain works.
What was that? There was an advertisement at one point with, it was like an overhead shot of just traffic going into the city.
And then one car going the other way.
And it just looked all gloomy. All the cars were like gray and nasty looking going into this gloomy city. And then there was one car, like a Volkswagen with some surfboards on the top of it going.
You must have seen the same
out,
thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Going out of the city. And that's a perfect visualization for what has to be done and the mindset you have to attack obstacles. Because the guy who's got the surfboard leaving the city overcame the obstacles that these people in this rat race are just driving into every single day and bitching and moaning about at the water cooler and doing nothing about.
Yeah. If you, what's that quote? If you
want things that most people don't have, you have to be willing to do things that most people won't do. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Brad taught me that quote. I don't know who he stole it from, but yeah.
One of those guys.
Another good quote from great public speaker Rocky Balboa. Right? It's not about.
Actually, a terrible public speaker.
That was the point of the comments. He doesn't get my after all these years, all these fucking years. Now 20 of these
what was
episodes.
His trainer called? Mickey.
Mickey. Yeah. Mickey. And he did. It was. That'd be pretty intense for a movie audience in 1977 to see Mickey get the blade and slice him and yeah. Oof.
Speaking of which, not 100% relevant, but somewhat relevant. I saw David Spade do stand-up a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out with a fact that apparently is well known in Hollywood that I had never heard before, that apparently Sylvester Stallone has trouble getting it up.
I wouldn't know how I would know that.
Well, I didn't know that until he mentioned it, but he said it was...
Well, he did. So Stallone, he got popped in Australia a couple years ago for trying to board a flight or something with a bunch of human growth hormone, HGH. So he's like 76 years old, and he would beat the shit out of us. Like 2-on-1, he'd still beat us. And he's
we have
like
weapons. I think 2-on-1 with weapons.
We okay.
I fancy
Probably
my chances. Not
fair fight.
Yeah.
But
something.
he's like everyone should take these things. Like, he's a firm believer in the testosterone and the HGH. He thinks that everyone should do that. Extend your life, feel better. So very interesting. He's fucking Rocky. Anyway, it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
That's it.
That's how winning is done, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of value in good movies.
Yeah, I heard Grant Cardone say something similar. You know, whenever you're in a situation, massive obstacle, feel like the odds are against you, you just have to ask yourself, what would a badass do right now?
Yeah.
Another good example of this, when Tiger Woods won the US Open, I think 2010, with a broken
leg in the playoff.
Yeah, to get into that playoff, he had a very tricky downhill, like probably 12-footer, big break in it. And he said over that putt, he said afterwards, over that putt, he said to himself, anyone can miss this putt. Anyone. Like, my mum can miss it, no problem.
Yep.
Anyone can miss this putt, but a champion makes this putt. That's what champions do.
Tiger, I mean, what he did even just on Thursday this year at the Masters, like, he finished the whole tournament top, what did he finish, like 70th maybe, or something like that?
Yeah.
40th, I don't even know.
Yeah,
but
he kind of sucked after the
yeah, but so like,
weekend, but,
of the millions and millions of people around the world who are going to pick up a golf club this year, this son of a bitch who was in a hospital for 3 months and contemplated amputating his leg just finished in the top 75. It's about a friggin' obstacle.
well, I probably finished in the top 50 because there you go.
You get cut, yeah. So
There's only
like,
about 80 people played in it to start off with, and then it's
Okay.
big.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
but anyway, amazing.
yeah, unreal. Like, you could come in dead last. We were talking about you and me fighting Sylvester Stallone 2-on-1, right? It's not the first 2-on-1 fight conversation that I've had in the last week.
Okay.
So we had some serious little league drama.
Can happen.
Yeah. My son Michael, he had a game last Wednesday night, and good game, right? Two of the three best teams in the league, highly contested. Comes down to last batter. My son's team wins 8-7, right? I was cheering. I'm just a fan. I'm not a coach anymore. I'm just a fan. I'm cheering.
Fan of the game.
Fan. I love the game. Cheering on my son's team, right? My son didn't pitch or anything, right? But I'm cheering on the pitchers. Apparently, in the year 2022, it is frowned upon when a batter has 2 strikes and you're cheering for the pitcher. It is frowned upon to say, "Let's go, Andy, finish him off." And I don't know if it's just when it comes out of my voice. My wife told me I can be gruff. I don't know, but I didn't think anything of it, right? And so game ends. Mikey's excited. They beat the number 2 team in the league. We're walking out to the car, and the lady in front of us, and my mother, is like talking, like looking over her shoulder and looking at it, and she's like, unsportsmanlike. And I'm oblivious. I'm just happy we won the damn game, right? I'm oblivious. And she's talking to her husband, and then my wife Amanda, she's on point, looking. I'll fight you, whatever. She says, "Are you talking to us?" And the lady goes,
Ooh, now it's going down.
She goes, "Yeah, your husband was very unsportsmanlike." And I go, "Excuse me?" So I walk up to the husband. I go, "I think there's some kind of misunderstanding here. Like, you must, I don't know what happened, but it wasn't me." He goes, "She's saying that you're saying unsportsmanlike things during the game." I'm like, "No, I would never." He's like, she said you were saying things like, "Finish him off." I was like, "Oh yeah, actually I did say that numerous times." Yeah, but it had nothing to do with your kid. I don't even know
Close
who
the
you
deal.
are. Yeah, I don't even know who you are. I don't know who your kids are. I sure as hell don't know who your wife is.
I want my soccer team to score in their goal. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, and I was like, so yeah, I did say that. But,
Score it past the goalkeeper.
so I was like, whatever. And he was kind of like not wanting to. He was one of the coaches. He'd been in the. He didn't hear anything, which means that it couldn't have been that bad, right? Well, unbeknownst to me, but beknownst. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Beknownst to my wife. These people, they have 2 sons, twin boys, right? Who were playing in opposition of Mikey the other night. These boys, in the past, have talked a lot of shit to Mikey. Your team's not a real team. His travel team, he's the prospects. These guys are the not prospects. I don't know what the hell, whatever, right? Talked shit to my daughter, 8-year-old daughter, Vivint. The only reason you made the team is because none of the boys tried out. Bullshit. There's 45 boys, right? We've already had this conversation, right? I'd heard those stories, but I didn't make the connections. Well, Amanda makes the connections. Amanda goes up to this lady. This is in the parking lot of the ball field, Little League ball field. She goes, "You want to talk about my husband being unsportsmanlike? How about your twin boys telling my kid you play on a real team and telling my 8-year-old daughter she shouldn't have made the team because of, there's no boys, right?" So like Amanda is following this lady to her car, yelling at her. And then wild card, back to bring this thing full circle, Mikey, my son, he realizes what's going on. He starts yelling across the parking lot at the twin boys and like took his bag off and he's like, I'm like, "No, get in the..." So I'm like, "Jesus, Michael, like there's two of them. There's only one of you."
That was the whole point of this story.
Two of them, there's only one of you, right? And like if Vivian was gonna fight, I think they might have a chance. But she's an 8-year-old little girl. And so like, Mike, you can't just spout out at the mouth. It's about running into obstacles. You're running into 4 of them because each kid has 2 fists and there's only one of you. So anyway, there you go.
There you go.
You and me against Stallone, it would be like those twins against Mikey. If we had weapons, we'd probably beat Stallone as bad as they beat Mikey. But he wouldn't stop.
All right.
He wouldn't stop. He'd keep going.
All right, so here is how I would like to wrap this up today. Okay. How much fun would it be 1 minute left in the Super Bowl? The team that's down by 6, they're on the opposing team's 20-yard line. They hand it off to the running back, and all of the defensive linemen just step out the way, create a path for that running back just to walk into the end zone. Game over. No, it would be awful to watch.
Yep.
Right? Those big 350-pound linemen are obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes the game fun.
Yep.
Sidestep a little, I forget what button it is on Nintendo where you spin around. X, maybe?
Circle, X, I don't know.
Yeah. That's what makes the game cool. If you can get past those guys. Same thing. If every golf hole was just dead straight, no trees, no bunkers, no water, wouldn't be that much, interesting of a game.
Miniature golf, they put the windmill there. You gotta have the obstacles.
You got to work around the obstacles, and that's what makes it fun.
And Edward, that's what makes it valuable. And it's only valuable
Because it's true. Cheers, buddy.